Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance review. And the fragrance we are reviewing today is L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme Eau de Parfum. Immense. It's an immensely long name for a perfume. Goodness me. Anyway, that's right, friends. I am back with another fragrance review. And finally, I feel qualified to review this fragrance. This is my 50ml bottle. And as you can see, I think I've got a wearing, maybe two, out of this bottle, and then it is gone. Which will be sad when it goes, because I finished another bottle recently, and that was my Pavarotti. So these two fragrances have been stalwarts of my collection over the last 5 years. And I have finished these bottles. I've also finished a bottle of Oud Wood before, and a couple of others, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. But this is what happens. I mean, my collection isn't just for looking at. It lives and breathes. I do actually have backups, because of course I fucking do. And they are 100ml bottles, which I'm not sure were available in Europe. So I managed to get them from Canada when they changed the bottles to put in all of the signature line, I want to call it, like L'Instant, Vetiver, L'Homme EDP, all of them into those square bottles. I prefer the Listerine bottles simply because they're more ergonomic. Those L'Homme EDP bottles are not easy to hold and spray, big square things. Fortunately, I've got big hands, so I can deal with it, but I can imagine if my hands were like any smaller, it would be an absolute pain. Anyway, on to the review. I will follow my tried and tested technique, which is to tell you the notes and then tell you which notes I get the most, and then just talk about the fragrance and my experience of it. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. So, top notes are star anise, citrus notes, elemi resin. Heart notes are patchouli blossom, jasmine and neroli. And the base notes are cocoa, patchouli, cedar, sandalwood, hibiscus seed and tea. The perfumer was Beatrice Piquet, who very, very sadly left us at the young and tender age of 46, which is very sad, because this perfume, as you can see, is one of my favourites. When you've got a collection like this, it's very hard to finish a bottle. But here we are. The main notes to my nose, to me, are patchouli, cocoa, elemi, and sandalwood. They're the main notes that I get. The other notes I do smell them, but they're the main ones, you know. So let us begin, shall we? Oh no, why have I done that? This is my scent of the day. I might actually just finish this off today, to be fair. Just like reapply. Anyway, off the top, I get this kind of warm, fresh, ever so slightly smoky sort of vibe. I think you get that from the elemi and the tea, because you can, and like the star anise as well. I definitely get the star anise especially at the top, but I get the elemi, which gives this lemony kind of vibe, as elemi is wont to do. It's got this kind of citric thing going on. It's fresh, and that freshness never really leaves the fragrance, but it becomes less distinctly citric, and it becomes just more of like this kind of warm freshness, really. It's hard to put more of a... It doesn't become nondescript, because that implies that it's boring, and it's not. There's nothing boring about this fragrance. It sort of mixes in with like the neroli, which is very light in this, but it gives it that kind of floral, creamy kind of freshness. Like the elemi with its citric sharp point opens the door, you know, like a wedge. And then it, like the neroli and like the resinous aspects of the elemi open the door wider, you know, as the wedge goes in. And then very quickly behind that, you're presented with the cocoa, the chocolate. And it's a fresh, powdery kind of chocolate. It's clean, slightly, how would I put it? Clean and fresh, like fresh cocoa, without ever becoming like derivative or boring fresh. It opens up, it begins to become more like the parts seem to kind of stop singing their own songs and they start to sing in harmony. And then you get like the patchouli, which makes this quite masculine, I think. The patchouli and the cedar bring this kind of strength and this muscularity. I'm not sure that's a word. Bring this kind of power to the fragrance. It's not necessarily a powerful fragrance, if that makes sense. It's not like overbearingly sweet or overbearing. It's not overbearing in the slightest. I saw a couple of reviews of this where somebody said this. One of the reviews said this was the last great masculine Guerlain, and I agree with that. It's one of the last great Guerlains. It's been nearly 20 years since this was released. It was released in 2004. And the perfumer was Beatrice Piquet. And it is very sad that she passed, because if she was still at Guerlain and this was the standard of things she was releasing, Guerlain would be in a lot better state than what they are at the minute. Again, this was released in 2004. The next year, Dior Homme was released, which I think this has some similarities to. Obviously, with the cocoa, the chocolate note and stuff, and this kind of creamy, softer, masculine edge. I think Guerain Pour Homme came out around that sort of time as well. So there was something in the air. Yeah, Guerain Pour Homme came out in 2006. So 2004, L'Instant was released. 2005, Dior Homme. 2006, Guerain Pour Homme. These kind of warm, ambery, soft, masculine fragrances. Slightly gourmand, slightly powdery, much more approachable than the 80s fragrances that these perfumers must have grown up on, you know. The performance on this, for me, is brilliant. It doesn't really need reapplication, but I feel like you can't spray too much of this. you know? You can put 10 sprays on at a time and you'll be fine. Maybe give it 20 minutes, but it'll settle down to something very calm and pleasant in a good way, and warm and round. At the end of the fragrance, you're left with patchouli, cocoa, sandalwood, and this kind of creamy, resinous sandalwood vibe, you know, about 8 to 10 hours into the fragrance. And it will last that long, or certainly this bottle does. This version does. I'm not sure about the new square bottles. I don't really want to find out, to be honest with you. I think I bought this at retail. This was early. This was early before I discovered online discounters where you can now pick up Guerlains, or you used to be able to pick up Guerlains at frighteningly good prices. This is a lot of perfume for the money, and it's a lot better than 99% of other designer fragrances out there. I love this stuff. As you can see, I've finished a bottle of it, and I will retire it until next year, the same as I am doing with Pavarotti, because I want to get some other fragrances into the rotation. And so yes, this is a fragrance you can wear anytime for any occasion. Like, you can wear this just if you're staying in bed all day. You can wear this out to a show, or to the cinema, or to a meal, or going to meet your partner's parents for the first time. It's that kind of fragrance. Absolute brilliant signature scent. And it's a shame that Guerlain and other houses don't release things like it anymore. Anyway, this has been my review for L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum Pour Homme. I hope you have enjoyed it, friends, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.